Hi and welcome back to Pick Up the Pieces. We're back in the pickup kitchen and I am going to show you how to preserve your fresh basil for winter use. My basil plant in the yard was going crazy and I just went out today to pick a little and realized I had all of this. When you grow fresh basil, you don't want your plants to get super tall. If they get really tall, they will actually stop producing new leaves and they will go to seed, and then you will lose your basil plant. So to keep your basil plant from going to seed, you just pinch off the tops like this, and you do that on a regular basis. You'll get a nice bushy basil plant and you'll get a huge crop of it, because as you pinch, it'll just keep growing and reproducing. So I'm gonna take all this fresh basil. It is clean. You can leave the stems on, it's completely fine, but if there's a really thick stem or an ugly looking leaf, just pull it off. All I'm gonna do is put this in my food processor. It is going to chop down quite a bit, so you do not have to worry. And see, that's a thicker stem, so I'm getting rid of it. You don't have to worry about overstuffing your food processor. It will be fine. So I just put all of that basil in, and I'm gonna give probably about a tablespoon's worth of good olive oil, and then I'm gonna blend this up. You wanna stop your food processor a couple of times and scrape down the sides so that it blends evenly. I like my basil to be about this consistency when it's blended, and it's got just a little bit of oil on it, and that is perfect because you want this to actually freeze to the point where it stays together in like a little square. And I'll show you what it looks like when it is done and frozen. But I'm just gonna scrape this out of my food processor onto my pan. I've lined this pan with some parchment paper. You could use some foil if you want. You just want something on the pan so that it's easy to get the little cubes that you're gonna create of basil off of the tray when it is frozen. You can freeze this in individual ice cube trays if you want. I find it's just more work, and then you have an ice cube tray that will forever smell like basil, which you may or may not want. So I tend to do it this way. It is much easier and easier to clean up. So then all I do with my pureed basil is form it into a little rectangle or square. I try to make it as even as possible, and then there's really no right or wrong way to do it. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want it to freeze evenly, so you don't want like one section to be really thick and one section to be really thin. And then I'm just gonna scrape off the spatula. So this is gonna go into my freezer, and I'm gonna leave it there till the morning. It's after dinner right now, so it'll be in the freezer for about 12 hours, and you're just gonna put it in like this. Once your basil is completely frozen, you'll break it apart in squares. So to make that easier, take a chopstick, and you can create some little indentations. And if you need to, just turn the paper so that the chopstick will fit, and you won't have to worry about fighting it to get it to make marks in your basil block. And then that's it. All you do is freeze this and then take it out in the morning, break apart your little squares, and then put them in a freezer bag. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So I just grabbed this bag out of my freezer. I made some of these a couple weeks ago, and all you do is break apart your little basil squares. And now anytime you're making something that might go nicely with some fresh basil, all you have to do is pull a block out of the freezer and throw it in. You can put this in soups, marinades, you can put this in your pasta sauce. It's excellent, and it tastes just as fresh as if it was picked out of the garden, even in the middle of winter. Thanks so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please remember to like and subscribe. Thanks, bye.